Now, I am a solution-based hair extension artist. Yeah, I love to do mermaid hair and fun hair for people that want the length or the thickness, but I really have a heart for those that are coming in with a problem that we can solve with extensions. And I want to work with you as a teammate to get the best effect, the best feel, the best longevity out of the extensions. I can tell you honestly that if I have a client come in for a consultation and they have a problem that we are going to solve with extensions, 8 out of 10 of my clients will end up with better hair in the long run. But here's the rules to that. You can't come in and say, I want weft extensions. I want tape extensions, because you've seen something on Instagram or you've seen that. You need to sit down. We're going to talk about the solutions that work for you. And that may be a type of extension that you've never heard of or you're not sure about, but I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to educate you on it. We're going to install your extensions. I'm going to keep a close eye on things. I'm going to make sure this is working for you. And if you go home and you follow my home care to a T, chances are the hair that you have on your head naturally will become healthier, will grow longer. Many times I've seen women come in and wear extensions for 6 months to a year, and then they're able to take them out because their hair has actually gotten better, because the extensions were just there to fill in a temporary problem. You shouldn't have to wear them forever and ever and ever, unless you want to, that's fine. But my consultations are very thorough. I have this little dolly head here, and I've got the different type of extensions installed so that you can see, what they do, how they fill in, all that kind of thing. And we talk about it and we go over all the different kinds of extensions, what would work for you, why they work, why they won't work. Home care is 99% of your success. I have so many clients come see me that may already have extensions from another artist, but they were never educated on home care. And that's no shame on the artist. It's just, maybe that's not how they do their thing. I don't know. Or maybe they just assume that the client would know or would look up that information on their own. But I send you home with, a care package that's going to, help you get through those first few weeks. I'm accessible. You can ask me questions anytime. If there's any problem, I want you to immediately come in for a complimentary, checkup to make sure everything's going well. I'm going to walk you through this and make sure that your hair is safe and happy and healthy. So things that I'm happy to offer that not all hair extension artists do. Some do, but not all. I'm happy to custom color extensions to match your hair. Not everyone does that. A lot of people do, but not everybody does. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to custom perm your extensions to match your curl pattern. Most extension companies offer like a beach wave, similar to maybe what I've got. This is my crimper off TikTok. I went to an 80s party last night and this is what's left over. Or they have curlier, but it only comes in dark colors. And one thing about extensions is you can color them darker, but you can't color them lighter really, because they've already been bleached out and you're going to destroy them if you try to do that. So I am happy to perm extensions to make them match your curl patterns. I am happy to make you custom clip-ins. So these wefts, maybe you've got weft extensions in, you don't want to deal with that anymore, now you want clip-ins. Well, you don't have to go out and buy all new hair. I'll turn those into clip-ins, or vice versa. Start out with clip-ins from a weft that we purchased, and then later wear it as a weft, because sometimes you just want to try it out to see if this is something you're going to do. I also am happy to refurbish your extensions. And when I say refurbish, what I do is I clarify, clean them, recolor them, and then I do a keratin treatment on them so they're smooth and shiny again. It doesn't make them brand new, no, but it will get you a few more months out of them instead of buying new hair. So that's something I can do. I'm happy to custom cut wigs, styling, things like that. So I'm all about that stuff. So just hit me up for a consultation and I'd be happy to talk you through all that kind of stuff. What I promise you as an extension artist, if we work together as a team, you're going to have a good experience. If you're having hair thinning issues or you're thinking that you might want extensions, please reach out. I would love to offer you a consultation and sit down and talk with you what your options might be. I have been doing extensions for about 13 years. I do all the types that are popular right now. I-tip, K-tip, tape-in, weft, toppers, all the things. I am double and triple certified in just about all of them because each time a new method comes out or a new company comes out and I want to try their product, you usually have to take their course. And anyway, so I've been doing them all. I have my favorites. I have those that I don't like so much. And we're going to talk about all of them today. These extensions here are just some that I had an open package of. They're Seahawks colors. And these are I-tips. And they're each individual little strands that are applied with a crimping tool similar to a pair of pliers with a bead. And as you can see in the video here, you put in the extension into the little bead and you crimp it. Let's talk about these type. These were very, very popular when I first started doing extensions. And I actually had some clients that had full heads of these. And now I don't do full heads of these anymore because there's so many better methods around. But these are great for pops of color, like if you want the Seahawks colors, or if you want some pink or some, different colors in your hair, just kind of pops of color. They're great for that. They're great to style because they have a 360 rotation in the head. So you can put them up, put them down, pull them back, do all kinds of things. The things I don't like about them is I don't like that bead having to be crimped so tight on your hair that it can actually break your hair in order for these not to fall out. I actually had a client come to me and say, well, my last stylist used to crimp it so tight that the bead would actually crack, and that gave me the cringe. I don't like to squeeze them that tight. I usually tell clients that have these put in that, especially if it's a full head, you can plan on losing about 10% of them over a 6 to 8 week period, which is usually the turnaround for move-ups. And so that would be, let's say you have 100 in, you might lose up to 10 during that time. And this is why I don't do full head ones. They kind of tend to fall out, and there's a better way of doing it now. The next one I'm going to talk about are tape-ins, and these are just some fun colored ones that I had. And each one of these little pieces has single-sided tape on it, and you take two of them and you sandwich together, as you can see in the video here. You sandwich the two pieces of tape around some of your own hair, and that's what holds them in. Again, these are not one of my favorite ways to do a full head, and it's mostly because they're kind of a bear to get out. After wearing these in your hair for 6 to 8 weeks, let's say, even 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the type of hair you have, the glue gets kind of gooey. It's kind of hard to get out. You've got to, use chemicals and oils to get that out of the hair, and it's just kind of a mess. Then you have to peel the old tape off of them and put on new tape to put them in. And originally they were great because they gave you a lot of bang for your buck as opposed to the I-tips we just talked about. And they covered more space. You could, have less contact points to the head. But again, kind of a bear to take out. I like them for peekaboos, filling in, that kind of thing, but I don't normally do full head applications of these anymore. Now, recently, this method, well, actually, it's been around for a while. Correct me. We're going to get to the weft extensions in a minute, but now they have tape-in wefts too. And I have not done a tape-in full weft, but I would assume that the stickiness and ooiness would still be a problem with that. Quick installation, that's one of the pros. They can go in really fast, but then when you come in for a move up, it's kind of a minute. So that's why I don't like to do full heads of those anymore, although I do keep them in stock and they are an option. The next one I'm going to talk about is the weft extension. This is a weft. It's a long single piece of extension. It's attached by sewing it around beads in the hair, or like I was just talking about, some of them now have a single-sided tape where you can tape it in the hair. And as you can see by this video here, the beads are placed in a row, careful for tension, careful for spacing, and then this weft is sewn on. I bet things falling behind me. And those are kind of the most popular right now. The pros are they're great for medium to thick hair. You get a lot of bang for your buck because it's a nice even sheet of hair. they they feel secure. They're pretty much hard to detect in the hair, you know, as people walking by and things if they're put in properly. What I don't like about them, I do a lot of them. So they're very popular and I do a lot of them. But the one thing I don't like about them is they kind of limit how you can style your hair. You have this big piece, or maybe even several rows of this big piece. So it's hard to like do pigtails or a pony or anything like that. You only have an up and down motion. You don't have that 360-degree motion like follows your natural hair pattern. So they're a little harder to style, but they're very popular. Sometimes they're a little harder to blend on the color without really doing some customized coloring of the extensions, which is a chore. I do it, but it's a chore. Because you're working with a sheet and, you know, you can put highlights and lowlights and all that kind of thing in it, but it's hard for it to match your natural hair because you're doing it on this sheet and then placing it into whatever your hair's got going on. I love them for single color heads, like you're all blonde or you're all brunette or you're all red. Those are great. But people that really want a lot of dimension and things going on, when they're worn straight, I just feel like you don't get the look that you might want. And I'm sure there's stylists out there that'll argue with me, but it's a lot of work and coloring extensions is a bitch. It's expensive for you. So the next method I'm going to talk about is one of my favorites and we'll get into why. Okay, so now we're going to talk about my favorite extension method, and that's the K-tips. And these have, they're similar to the I-tips as far as they're single pieces, but these have a little bit of keratin on the end that is basically glued into the hair. And as you can see from the video here, there's a heat tool used to heat the keratin and melt it around the hair. Now, I've done the same video before a couple of years ago. And at that point I was saying I didn't like to do K-tips because you couldn't reuse the hair and all that kind of thing. Well, things change, things evolve, I learn. And now they're my favorite, and here's why. I can not only re-tip them, but with the keratin glue I have come across in a powder form, I can really, really customize these. I can take a few hairs from this color and a few hairs from this color, put them together, put them in, you know, I can make them super tiny so they're almost invisible. If you have thicker hair, I can make them a little bigger. They are fully customizable. The thing I love most about them is depending on your hair density and fragility, you can wear these up to 3 months without having to see me again, which is the longest wear that you can get out of any extension type. Now that's not going to be for everybody, but if you've got healthy hair, it's strong, it's looking good, you can wear these a long time. So even though you sit in the chair a little longer getting them in, usually a couple hours, you're good to go then for 3 months. You don't have to see me again, as long as you're taking good care of them. Okay. So those are my favorite. Those, especially with fine haired clients, I can hide them. They become invisible in your hair. I have one client that was doing wefts, and every time the wind would blow, you could see the weft. She didn't have much hair, and we switched her over to K-tips this last time, and she texted me about a week later and she says, "This is the best thing we ever did. I can't see them. I can't, you know, they're great. I love them." And she's now wearing her hair in super cute styles because she doesn't have that big weft she's trying to hide. She's in love with them. So I highly recommend those to a lot of my clients that are thinking of that. The other reason I like them is for my curly haired clients. I can really customize the look so that they blend seamlessly with your hair if you have curly hair. So there's that. And then another type of extension that has only been out a few years now is the V-Light. And at first I was super excited about these. I've learned that they're okay. They're great for filling in, but actually now I almost prefer a K-tip for that because these are kind of a little bit sporadic when you put them in. There's a little less control of the bond because you're brushing on this glue, you're curing it, you're kind of separating it. Some pieces are big, some pieces are little. They are invisible. And I do have a couple of clients that I use them right on their part line, and you can't see them because they have thinning hair on top. They don't want to wear a topper. And we use them there, and that's great. But they're a little bit of a bitch, to comb through and brush through. So I'm not as excited about them as I was when they first came out, but I do use them, and there is definitely a time and a place for those extensions. Okay, so another type of extension I'm going to talk about is a hair topper. These come in all different sizes, different colors. This is one right here. They clip on, to cover thinning spots. Now, I did another video on these, talking about the semi-permanent where they can be sewn on or glued on or whatever. I personally have chosen not to do that method. I am certified in it, both the glue on and the sew in, but I just don't like to do them. I just feel like the scalp needs to breathe, and I don't want to leave anything attached to the top of your head like that for 6 weeks. I don't. But I do offer clip-ins and things like that. So I do have those to offer to you, and we can certainly talk about it when you come in. And the other type of temporary wear would be the halo. This is worn through the back of your hair with a little wire that goes over the top. And these were really popular back in like 2014, 2015. They're still around. They still serve a purpose. What I like these for is I have clients that come in and they're just not a good candidate for extensions. Okay. Their lifestyle just isn't going to match with it. This is a great way to get long, happy, fun hair, thick hair without having something that's permanent. You can take it out at night and go to bed. The other thing that they're great for is people that have extensions, but their head needs a break. Maybe they've had a bad install. Maybe they've just been wearing them way too long and their head needs a break or whatever. This is a filler, in between that you can wear instead of having your full-time extensions in. So I like it for that. Now, in addition to all I've talked about, there are hair fibers, things like that, all kinds of things to hide thinning that you may have going on. And I have those available in my shop. You can buy them online. There's sprays. There's all kinds of things to deal with thinning hair. And I actually have other videos that talk more about that, but those are options as well. My goal is to find a solution that works for you. Now let's talk about the quality of hair. Basically, all hair extensions start out the same way. It all comes from overseas. Now, there are exceptions nowadays. I know things are getting better, but we're talking in general. Most of the hair comes from overseas. It all starts out at a darker color. It's then processed and bleached and then colored back to whatever colors they're offering. And then after all that happens, it's sorted, and the best of the best hair is sold at a more expensive rate to the bigger brands. The less, quality hair after it's been processed is sold at a lower rate to the big brands. And so, yeah, sometimes price does determine how good the hair is. I've had clients in the past that insist on getting their own hair because they think they're saving money, and that's fine. But usually they're really disappointed because I had a gal recently, and she's someone I know really well, so she won't mind me mentioning this, but she went to a local hair shop. She paid a very low price for weft hair. It lasted in her hair 2 weeks before it was just matted and gross, because all hair extensions are not created equal. I try to use the best hair I'm currently aware of, and that's constantly changing. I have changed brands. I mean, you saw me showing some Donna Bella. Those I've had around forever because back in the day, that was one of the better brands. It's not anymore. It's a medium brand, but they're great for, like I said, popping in things like that. They have fashion colors, things like that. There are better brands. There are better brands constantly coming out. There are hairstylists that are starting their own brands, and hair is getting more and more accessible to the industry. But price, if you're buying, a 30-inch weft, let's say, for $80, it's not gonna last. You're probably gonna have to pay $200-300 for something that's going to be any good, and the average head of hair for a full head, I would say the minimum you're going to pay for hair is going to be about $500. and it goes up from there. So just so you know, don't think you're just going to go buy some hair off Amazon and it's going to be great, because it may look great at first, but it's not going to last. If you want it to last, you're going to have to pay a little bit more for it. Hair that is taken very well care of, following, your stylist recommendations and things, sometimes you can get a couple of years out of it. That's the top of the line stuff, but that's really taking really good care of it. The average is a year, I would say, for most hair, and really low quality hair, apparently only a couple of weeks, but maybe 6 months. So it depends on how long you think you're going to want to wear it. If you think, oh, this is just for an event, I'm not going to be doing this very long, blah, 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 then by all means, don't spend a fortune on the hair. But if you think it's going to be something that, you're going to want to do long term, invest in it. You're going to be so much happier that you did. If you're having hair thinning issues, or you're thinking that you might want extensions, please reach out. I would love to offer you a consultation and sit down and talk with you what your options might be.